Hey guys, Short Midget here. So I got the Lancer Tactical Warlord Series M4. So this is my brother's. He got it from Airsoft Megastore. They sent it to him just as basically courtesy. I don't think he knew what he was getting because when he uploaded the video on the unboxing, it was like mystery box. So I don't think he knew what he was getting when they sent him a package. I think they were just sending him a gun and he didn't know what it was. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. But anyways, this is what he got. This is a cool gun, it really is. Sorry about it being really windy and it's cold. Alright guys, so I'm just gonna be in here for this video pretty much. I have all the lights on, so hopefully it's gonna be bright enough. So basically this is a Lancer Tactical. It's OEM Dietac. But of course it's going to have the Lancer Tactical name to it. They retail for just over $200, so you're going to be able to pick this up for, I believe it was about $210. So it's very comparable to the higher end G&Gs. So the ones that come with like the Mark 18 type rails, going to be about the same price point as this. In my opinion, you get a little bit more bang for your buck on this gun than you do on those. Actually quite a bit more. But if you're looking for a Mark 18 type gun, and you don't want to put a Mark 18 rail on it, you want it stock, I guess that would be a better option for you. But a lot of people do like Kimons, like me. So let's just start in the back. So this is kind of a funky stock. I really do like it. Of course, it's got like 6 adjustments, your standard type stock, but it looks like a crane stock, but it's not a crane stock. It's like an LE type stock. There's no room for batteries inside of the stock. So how you put a battery in it is you just take it off, put your stick lipo in there, and put it back on. So it's a nice stock as far as the polymer. It's got a nice rubber butt pad, but it's not going to be a crane stock. So you're going to want to use like 1200 milliamp stick lipos, or you might be able to fit a 1400 milliamp stick. Probably wouldn't try. Just stick with 1200 or 1000. Those will fit fine in there. It is Tamiya. There is no MOSFET in here, so there's nothing in the buffer tube, so you can just slide a lipo down in there. And it is heat strength on there, so that's pretty good. That's nice to see. It's also nice to see a metal buffer tube. I do know a lot of Lancer Tacticals will come with plastic ones, at least the ones that are generally OEM by them. They seem to make plastic buffer tubes, but they are on the cheaper versions. This is metal. I don't know on the Gen 2s if they change that or not. I'm pretty sure the Gen 2s are still plastic from what I've heard. So, I don't know. Buffer tubes just should be metal. That's just all there is to it. The receiver on this gun is very unique. It really is. It's not compatible with your standard M4, which might be a con for some people. If you can't tell, this is your kind of DMR, I guess. Some people wouldn't consider this a DMR because it's only a 5.56 magazine. Most people aren't going to care about that sort of stuff. They just care about the barrel length. They're not, just because it's a 5.56 is not ruining their immersion or anything. But the upper receiver is one piece. So it's unique. It reminds me of the XCR, kind of maybe a little bit of the ACR as well. Just that one piece upper receiver. It is metal. This whole thing is metal. For $210, you're getting a whole upper receiver being metal. There's no wobble to this body whatsoever. Honestly, it's nice. This gun is a nice gun. You're going to have an extended charging handle latch. When you cock it back, the door stays open, so you can adjust the hop up. You've got an ambi bolt lock on both sides there. You're going to have, right there, sorry. And then you have an ambi mag catch right there and there. And then you're going to have an ambi selector switch right there and right there. The low receiver says Lancer Tactical, and it says OEM by Dietac on there. It is plastic, the lower. If you didn't figure that out, the upper's metal, lower's plastic. The pistol grip on here is really, really interesting. So if you pop this cap off, you squeeze and pull down, you pull that out, and there you go, there's your motor. So you have no excuse on not replacing this motor. This motor is a piece of trash, if you ask me. It's not very good. Please swap that out. Other than that, the internals on this gun are pretty dang good. You could swap this out with an SHS, DCI, ASG motor, anything. There you go. You got a better gun right away. I mean, that's a nice feature. It really is. I have no complaints about that. The upper receiver has a monolithic rail. It comes with a front sight. It did not come with a back sight, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to come with a back sight. So don't worry, yours should come with a back sight. The receiver is one piece, like I said. There are screws here holding, I believe it's this bottom portion. No, actually, I lied. The screws in there are holding the barrel in there. The barrel is actually 18 inches, so this is a long barrel. I thought it was about 20. It turns out to be 18. I measured it. My AR-15 has an 18-inch barrel too, and it matched. The key mod rail is very thick. It's a lot thicker than your standard key mod rail. It's not awful. I generally like my rails thinner, but this is just a unique design. It's something that honestly I've never seen before. It has a bottom rail here with a Magpul PTS. This is like a vertical grip, but it's kind of angled. I forget exactly what they call that. And then there's another rail here. The rail sections are plastic, but they're good enough quality. The long one's got 3 screws. The bottom one's got 2. Again, monolithic upper rail, which is, this whole thing's going to be metal. Nice. I think it's CNC. Don't quote me on that, though. As far as the internals, it's got a rotary style hop-up, which all of the Lancers are coming with. I have not gotten a chance to shoot this yet, so we will see how it shoots. But it looks like a good quality, hop-up. The bucking seems fine. The barrel is, from what I've heard some people say it's a 601, some people say it's a 603. Either way, both are good. It's brass, and it's very polished. And it's 18 inches, so this gun actually shoots pretty dang hard, and it's got a pretty weak spring in it. Alright, so for the gearbox shell, it does say Dytac on it, so I don't know if it's OEM Dytac. It is radiused on the corners, which is nice. It's got this little ledge here, too, for reinforcement. Most gearbox shells are just casted like that nowadays, with that just barely a little bit of reinforcement, thickens it up a little bit. As far as the quality of the shell, honestly, it looks better, per se, than like your cheap Chinese, like JG shells. But it might just be the paint that makes it look nicer, and it might just be standard cast. We'll have to see for longevity. It has 8mm bearings in it, which is not bad. As far as if you were to run higher speed, I don't like using bearings for higher speed. I just don't. I've ran Crytacs and had them break at 40 rounds a second. So when I do high speed, above 30 rounds a second, I prefer to stick with bushings, but you do you. But the bearing stock should be fine. They seem to be nice and smooth. We'll hop into just the AR latch here. The AR latch might be heat treated. It kind of looks like it a little bit. It's your standard Chinese AR latch. As far as the spring, it actually seems pretty strong, so not bad there. It's just basic, really. The gear set. The gear set looks like it's just absolutely basic. This reminds me of the Elite Force gear set for the Elite Force M4s. It's cheap Chinese. I don't like them whatsoever. This would be one of the first things I'd swap out besides the motor. It does have a sector chip. It says DT, so Dynamic Tactical on the, is that what it is? Dynamic Tactical? Yeah. On the sector chip there. So it's got a sector chip, so you'll probably be getting good feeding out of it. I noticed that the sector chip is actually backwards. I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah, that's on backwards. So I'm going to flip that around. I've seen some people put them on like this before, but it says Dynamic Tactical on the front, so they obviously meant to do that because the print is on the front. Yeah, the print's on the front. I'm just going to leave it as is. That looks like it's backwards to me because that lip is normally not there. It's supposed to be down at the bottom. But I've seen people put them on both ways, really. So you got a sector chip on there. That's a plus. But again, stock gears, it's just they're cheap Chinese, nothing special. You're not going to get a whole lot of rate of fire out of them. In fact, you're probably just going to get 20 flat. You're probably not going to get any more than that. As far as the wiring, it seems to be fine. I think this is silicone wiring. This is standard for Lancer Tactical. Lancer Tactical does this type of wiring in pretty much all the guns. It's not bad. Of course, the Tamiya connectors, I don't like Tamiya connectors, but that's just standard for most airsoft guns, so no, real complaint there. The trigger contacts seem fine. The trigger brake was a little iffy, so I did notice that I bent the trigger contacts in just a tiny bit to get a little bit more of a little bit shorter of a pull. And it still cuts off. I tested that. As far as the plastic durability, I mean, there's no way to test. It looks good from just the appearance. And the trigger contacts themselves, they're shiny, nice and shiny, so I don't have any complaints there. I've put probably 200 cycles with an 11-1, and of course, no wear on the trigger contact. Alright, so for the compression parts, it just has your basic tappet plate spring.
Nothing special really. It looks a little heat treated to me just by the color, but there's no way to confirm exactly. Springs are springs really. It's not a huge deal if that's heat treated or not. As far as the tappet plate, it reminds me of the King Arms. It seems very durable. It's not super flexible. I like to see that. Some people really like the flexible ones because, you know, it like rebounds, but I like to see a little bit firm. This is honestly pretty perfect. As far as the nozzle, there is no O-ring in it, and so it is losing some air, as you can see right there. This is a full cylinder, of course, with a pretty long barrel. I think it's an 18-inch barrel, so matches pretty well. Compression is pretty good here. So all in the nozzle. If they would have just put an O-ring, it'd be shooting definitely a little bit harder. As far as the, let's just do the piston. Piston is a full metal rack. I am extremely happy to see that it's a full metal rack. There's a bunch of grease in there. So just all grease up in there. Piston is a metal rack. Very, very happy about that. That is a huge plus. Every company should have a metal rack piston in their gun because that's really what breaks first. If you're using 11-1, that's what breaks first. Your trigger contacts would go second in most cases. The piston head has, 6 ports, which seems to be pretty good. It is plastic. Doesn't look like it's ball bearing to me. No, spring guide's ball bearing, so you're getting some ball bearing there, so no issue with me there. Again, a full cylinder. It feels heavy, so it's probably steel. Stainless steel. Yeah, it's got to be stainless steel. It's heavy. As far as the cylinder head, 1 O-ring and a pretty soft pad on there, actually. It's not that thick, just your standard, really. So overall, with the internals, not bad. I'm glad to see that metal rack piston in there. I'm very glad to see that in there. You're going to get pretty good durability. So popping 11-1 in here, you can run it. Now, of course, that motor is a piece of trash in my opinion. I'd swap that motor first. You swap that motor and then, you know, run 25 rounds a second with an 11-1 roughly. You might not get quite that, probably 22 to 25. And this piston will handle that easy. The gears, running 20 to 25, they'll be fine too. But if you are like a tech, I guarantee you, you know, a tech that has a okay budget would swap the gears, swap the motor, probably maybe swap the nozzle, maybe the spring, depending on what FPS you're looking for, and then probably a MOSFET. But, you know, if you're a new player, don't try to open these guns up if you don't know what you're doing, please. I hear people all the time that try to open their gun up and they're like looking for somebody to help them put it back together. If you've never opened a gun up, don't open it up unless it's broken, honestly. Now, if you have a broken gun, you can practice with that. But if you have a fully functioning gun, especially if it's brand new, don't take it apart. Don't. Just don't. Don't even attempt it. So since this is more of a kind of different gun, you know, it might be picky as far as magazines feeding. So I'm testing a bunch of different magazines. I've got VFC metal Stanags. I've got GMP high RPS. These are 5-year-old ones. And then we've got G&G mid-cap. And then a Vietnam style mid-cap. These have all been loaded up since last night. And they are all loaded up with .25 BBs. Here's the LiPo that we're using. It's an 11.1 1000 milliamp nanotech. It is 20 to 40 C, so it's, I'd say, perfect. The trigger contacts in here seem to be, they're decent. I think they'll hold up to the power of the 11-1. If anything would fry, it'd be the motor, but I would replace that right away anyways if I were you guys. But the metal rack piston can definitely handle any rate of fire, really. So let's dry fire a few shots. Shimming actually sounds really, really good. It really does. When I first pulled the gun out of the box and shot it, it sounds pretty good. Honestly, it really does. Shimming is really good. Alright, let's go ahead and chrono. I got .25s in these magazines. I got the chrono set for 2.5, so we'll get an accurate joule reading on here. I'm going to turn the hop up just a little bit. I do see it's a little low, so I kind of want to get accurate on where the hop up's set when I chrono. I would use 2.5s in this gun if I were you. Alright, so with the hop up adjusted, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 3 311. 307, 314, 306, 311, 312, 311, 311, 310, 311, 314, 311. Yeah, it seemed to have been kind of iffy, but it seems to have died down to like that 310, 315 point. It shoots 1.12 joules with the 2.5. That is with hop-up adjusted. I did chrono it yesterday, and it was reading 350 with the 0.25 when hop-up wasn't adjusted. So I figured it was shooting about 390, but that's probably with hop not added whatsoever. So with hop-up added, man, you're probably only getting 370, 360 with the 0.2. So it's dropping quite a bit. It's not as high of FPS as I was looking for. I mean, it's an 18-inch barrel. This gun should be shooting 400 flat. Again, it is losing a little bit of air in the nozzle, and I did mention this in my internal when I took it apart. The spring seems weak. It really does. It seems like a 110. So it's probably just a 110, and it's shooting 360, 370, which is normal for a 110, really. Alright, so let's just go ahead and shoot it. I don't have much more ammo in this mag because I was shooting a little bit. It is very, very windy out here. I apologize. There's nothing I can do about that. Alright, it's out. Let's go ahead and try a G&G mag. Try some full auto here. So, not bad. Let's go ahead and test the rate of fire here. It's probably, I'm guessing, 18 with an 11.1. It's not very fast. 18.26. 18.32. So I was almost smack dab. It's not very fast. This motor's a piece of garbage. I put a different motor in here and it was chronoing 22. Alright, so let's go ahead and test the VFC aluminum magazine mid-cap. These are great in my experience, so I should have no issues feeding. Okay, let's try full auto. And last but not least, we got the Vietnam style magazine that I love. These are .25s in here. Yeah, shoots great. I like the look of the short mags in this gun. Honestly, I really do like the look. Alright guys, that's pretty much it. So if you have any questions, go ahead and let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.